this question that you have about you can't get the correct output from your monitor section or your output of your machine. Now look, I don't have the 688 with me anymore, but I do have my Fostex X12, and this is kind of similar. So on the back of your 688, you've no doubt got two little ports like that. They're RCA jacks, I believe. Or they could be normal guitar quarter-inch jacks. I think you have a different selection of those. So anyway, either way, same principle. I was not actually ever able to get mine to work via this method, which is similar to your 688 issue. I remember that the audio issues that I had with mine were that I didn't either get a strong enough signal coming out of that, or I think there was some trouble with the bias or something. The levels weren't correct, so I didn't end up using the outputs for mine. But what I did actually figure out was that on the headphone output, which is very similar to yours as on this Fostex X12, that you have two separate headphone outputs that you can utilize, and that's what I ended up having to do with mine. So pretty much cabling wise, I was forced to create something like this. I have a standard RCA cable, left and right, that you can find anywhere, and I then had to purchase a Y splitter that goes into a mini headphone jack, like so. Putting those two together like so, and a standard normal large headphone jack. I'll have to figure out the words for all these. And putting those all together, not done yet. We've got the cable itself. On the other end that goes to your inputs on your audio interface, obviously you have your two ends there for your RCA jack, and these guys, which are quarter-inch guitar plugs, or half-inch, whatever they are, and your RCA jack input. So male to female jacks that create that. Two of those. And so these go into your audio interface. This goes into the output of your headphones here. And that's the route, unfortunately, that I had to take to get audio for my 688. And I'm sorry if that's a little bit basic, and you may have already attempted to do something like that, and it's what you're not interested in doing at this stage. But unfortunately, this is where the limits of my understanding with the 688 and the issue that you describe sort of come to. Unfortunately, but if you have a look at the manual as well, I mean, you actually may be able to figure this out with a bit of trial and error if you haven't already. It says here, the monitor and master controls with these buttons here. They're going to be virtually the same on your 688. And some of these control the monitor output for the headphones. Possibly here where you describe that you're only getting one side or left and right side with your Q monitor dual mono switch, which makes the monitor mix monophonic. Now that's interesting because what it could possibly be is that dual mono, you may have that dual mono pushed in, and that may be creating you're only getting a left-hand channel. So maybe have a look at that that switch section and see where possibly dual mono might be pushed in, and toggle that. Trial and error. Listen back to it and see, okay, is this still happening? Is it not? That's one possible issue. The other possible issue is much worse than this. Is that your where you mention the matrix 12, not the matrix 12, that's a synth, but the scene 12 in your input matrix, it may also be corrupted because depending on where this machine was before you owned it, or if you're the one owner, it could be corrupted by other people messing with it. It could be corrupted by things just going wrong, temperature changes, possibly something's changed within the setting. And the only way to fix that is to go in and fault find where possibly there's a setting where you've got left or right switched off, or again a dual mono scenario happening. But you know, the other problem with that is you may then have to perform a hard reset or a complete overhaul of what the scene matrix is doing, which nowhere in this manual really tells you much about. I'm seeing something that says reset here, but I don't think that's exactly the same thing. So let's have a look. Okay, well, that still says reset. That's a type function. I don't think it has anything to do. Oh no, here we go. Okay, no. So the reset here is not for a factory reset. It's just to change that your counter back to 0. So that could be an issue. It could be that scene 12 is corrupted, unfortunately. The last and final thing, which I really hope isn't the case for you, is that possibly the matching transformers that govern the output for these guys, or capacitors or ICs or whatever in between your input to output, something could be wrong with that, which I believe is what the case was with my 688, in which case it could be an expensive fix that you may or may not be willing to put into the shop to get fixed. And racking my brain, I can't think of anything else that could possibly be looked into with that, aside from saying, okay, I'm going to get this cable, I'm going to get the connections that I need, and hopefully, I mean, that's going to solve the issue. And unfortunately, like I said, I don't know really where else to go with that fix. But man, let me know what happens. If you're able to get it fixed, definitely tell me about it, and hopefully you can pop that on some forums and help some other people that are having the same issue. But yeah, look, I very much hope that got fixed for you, and at least that's some step in the right direction. All right, Jeremy, you have an awesome new year, and I hope to hear back from you soon, man. And thanks, everybody, welcoming all my new subscribers, and I really appreciate the feedback, comments, great stuff. All right, guys.